Today, I want to talk about the love-hate relationship that I have with my smartphone, the reasons that almost get me to kick it to the curb, and then the ones that make me let it back in again. Let's get into it. If you don't know me, I'm Spencer, and I like to talk about simple living, frugality, and ways that you can distance yourself from technology, sometimes by using other technologies. So, I can't lie. Smartphones are pretty cool. We probably take for granted nowadays how cool smartphones are. The fact that they can do so many different things in such a compact package. With a smartphone, you don't need a dedicated music player, a camera, a computer, or a GPS. It does everything and it does it pretty well. And no doubt that's why everybody has adopted the smartphone and why smartphones are in everybody's pocket all around the world. But if you're like me, there's something in the back of your head that's kind of like, I don't know about these smartphones. You get the sense that your attention span was higher back in the day. You can't quite put your finger on it, but something feels a bit not right with these devices, or at least with how we're using them. Today, I want to break down a few of those reasons for me, the good, bad, and the ugly of the smartphone. But getting started with the first thing that I really like about the smartphone is its camera. Now, I remember thinking that the camera was pretty sweet on the iPhone when it was like the iPhone 4, but when you look back on it, it was pretty bad. Nowadays, the cameras are pretty dang good. They're so good that people are able to use them for their main cameras on some Hollywood movies. Not a lot of them, but just to kind of prove that you can do it. But as somebody who's making videos on YouTube and somebody who also just likes to take photos from day to day, having a smartphone is a really useful tool. For YouTube, I don't use it as my main camera, hence why I'm able to hold this and you can still see me. But the smartphone slots in as the perfect B cam for me because it's just so fast. It's always on your person. You can flip it into camera mode, grab it, and you're out. You know, they say that the best camera is the one that you have on you when you need it. And I think that's why the smartphone has smoked out the point and shoot market, because people just have their smartphones with them at all times where they wouldn't always have a camera. So the number two reason that I like my smartphone is I like that I'm able to bounce media so easily from the camera on here to my laptop. This is extra nice when you're in the Apple ecosystem, even though there's a lot of downsides to being in the Apple ecosystem price-wise. But if I need an extra shot for a video like this, I can quickly take a shot on my iPhone and I can airdrop it to my laptop and just throw it right into the editing timeline as I'm working. That is really efficient for my workflow because I often miss a shot here and there and I need to go back and get it, and my phone is right there to do the job. The third thing that I appreciate about having my smartphone is just the access to having a GPS at all times. Now, this is the thing that I really missed when I didn't use my smartphone, is occasionally I'd be driving somewhere and I wouldn't really know exactly where I was going. I could use my laptop before I left and just kind of look up where I was going to get a sense, and that was usually enough to get me there, but it was a lot more peace of mind with just having the smartphone with the maps open telling me exactly how to get to where I was headed. Even throughout my life, this has not always been an option for people. I remember using like a Garmin GPS previously, and then even before that, using like Google Maps or something like that, and then writing down the directions and then taking that or printing them off and taking that with me. Having the phone with the built-in GPS is pretty awesome. The fourth thing that I really appreciate about using the smartphone is just that convenience is pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie. Now, I know I talk about the idea of putting friction between some of your choices, adopting certain inconveniences as a way to put a barrier between you and certain distracting technologies, but I can see why people choose the convenient option more than the inconvenient one, because convenience is kind of sick. It's nice to not have to plan as much and think, oh, do I want my iPod with me? Do I need my phone? Do I need to bring some sort of map solution with me? And just pick up the phone and you're off. But convenience may come at a cost. So now getting into the four things that I absolutely hate about smartphones. Number one is that they track and monitor everything you do using your phone. Do you remember how I said I like the maps feature on my phone? Well, the Maps feature allows companies to track you and know every store you go to and everything you do. It's not great. They do this so they can understand their habits and better market to you, make their product more addicting, send you location-specific advertisements, whatever. They're definitely not doing it with your best interests in mind, and I hate that. And moving on to the second thing that I really don't like about the smartphone is the fact that there are just so many companies, so many stakeholders invested in keeping you addicted to it and using it at all times. You may have bought the smartphone, but other than Apple, you're not really a customer. Every app that you're using, especially if it's a free app, you're the product. And companies are trying to market to you as much as possible. There are so many companies that are trying to make the phone so fun, so useful, so convenient, so entertaining, so you'll grab it as many times as possible, so you won't put it down. And the problem with that is we end up giving a lot of our lives to our phones hours and hours a day, which adds up to be years over the course of our lives, and that's bad. When I use a single-use device like my iPod or like a dumb phone, there just isn't that same addiction aspect there that's keeping me grabbing at it and just checking it out of a compulsion all the time. And I really appreciate that about those devices. In talking more about time, the third thing that I hate about smartphones is the fact that they just waste our time so much. Now, by giving you your email and basically a computer in your pocket, you'd think that the smartphone would help us be a lot more productive. And in a lot of ways they have. But they've also given us a lot more options to distract ourselves and to waste our time. Going back to the stats about how much time people waste on their smartphones, let's just talk about social media for a second. Social media is the perfect crossover point between time wasting and addiction and tracking. It's expected that the average amount of time that we're going to spend on social media over our lifetime is 6 years and 8 months. It's no wonder why companies like Meta and TikTok consider us their users. Because we are users, we're addicted, and we're wasting our lives on them. And finally, the fourth reason why I really don't like smartphones is the fact that it makes you reliant on one device and on one company for all of your entertainment needs. No longer do you get a choice of what companies you can support with your dollar when you're buying something like a camera or a computer or a phone or a GPS, because it just goes all under the umbrella of Apple or Google or Samsung. And maybe that seems like the convenient option that you don't have to choose between buying all of these different products and you can just get one. But the problem is when you're beholden to these companies, you can be yanked around by them. When you look to an all-in-one device made by one company like Apple, then you're in trouble when Apple decides that we're going to get rid of the headphone jack and you have to buy a dongle. Tough luck. It's harder to walk away from a company even when they screw you around once you're deep in their ecosystem because they're providing so many different elements for you under their one product. So there is a cost that comes at convenience and we need to be aware of it. So that's it for today, guys. Just a few things about my love and hate relationship with these smart devices in our world today. Maybe if I wasn't working in the field I would kick a device like this to the curb, and hopefully in the future I will. But I want to hear from you. What do you think of your smart devices? Do you think they're great and you actually love them a lot more than you dislike them? Or are you like me and you're not so sure that the pros outweigh the cons? Or maybe you're just all in hating them, have never adopted them, and in that case, you're my hero. Regardless, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to hear from you. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. You keep saying you got something for me, something you call love, but confess you've been messing where you shouldn't have been messing, and now someone else is getting all your best. These boots are made for walking, and that's what they'll do. One of these days these boots are gonna walk all over you.